Good morning and welcome again. This morning we are working on, so let me take you through the process. So this morning I thought I'd do a Porsche. I couldn't decide whether to go for a 2018 Porsche 718 Cayman or a 718 Cayman one of them's GT4 and one of them's GTS. But as soon as I brought them in, I knew the answer. It's weird, it looks like the bottom of one of them is lower than the other. They've lowered the back, which is strange. So one of them's got a bigger little tail and a wing. The back's lowered, and I think we have the answer. It's going to be the GT4, isn't it? I think so. Right, so let's have a look at the back. Oh yeah, there's no competition. So yes, today we will be doing the GT4. And let's start by let's first of all start by saving as and then we're going to go GT4 fully leaded, and this is the 2020 version, is that right? Yes, correct. So let's save as, and I just noticed that I think, oh no I didn't. Okay, right, so we can delete this one. We don't need that one, unfortunately. Thank you for coming though. But yeah, as I said, unfortunately we've picked a winner. Not that you're a loser. Everyone's a winner here. Right, so let's quickly align this to our grid. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to select all. Let's see what all these empties are. That's an empty, I don't know what that empty is doing. So we can delete that one. This one is for, I'm guessing, the wheels. But we're not going to risk. We're going to take any risks. So we're going to just delete those and we're going to just line it up ourselves. So let's begin by selecting that wall. Let's go to tries to quads, change that to 180, change that to 1. That should be good anyway. These are quite lightweight wheels. And then let's quickly select all, clear parents, and then what we're going to do here as well, we're going to just get rid of all the empties that we have. So we're just going to hide or only show the empties, select them all in here, and then we're just going to delete. Then we're going to make sure everything's selected again. Then we're going to go select that edge. We're going to cursor to selected, and then we're going to go edge origin to 3D cursor. Then with that still selected, we select all, and we're going to go parent to selected. Now everything should be parented to one object in here. Then we can put it at Y0. And actually while we're here, so this here is a 2 meter by 2 meter square, and as you can see our car is tiny. So what we need to do as well is, so the car is in grid and it looks like, is it at center? If we select that, make sure X is 0, so that's perfect. So let's select all, let's clear parenting, let's put the cursor to world origin. Now let's select all, let's make sure we're pivoting around the 3D cursor, and while we're here we may as well just put origin to 3D cursor. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to just change all of these to 1, and make sure when we do that we have Alt selected. So the calipers must have some sort of grouping or parenting or something. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to build an empty, not build, just create, summon. So with the empty selected, select all, let's go to parent, it's parent to that empty. And now we can just select the empty and scale that by 100. And now those calipers should be in the correct place. Let's have a look from top view. So as you can see, this is our 2 meter wide square, and we're just inside that. So that leads me to believe that this scale is now correct. Good. So now let us clear the parenting from that. Let's duplicate. Actually, before we do that, let's have a quick look at the shading. So what we're going to do is we're just going to apply a shader for the bodywork. So let's choose something from our asset library. So let's go, today we're going to choose something from the Moval. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But yeah, this guy's got some really good stuff. This is an add-on called, I think it's called Moval. Anyway, if you just Google that, you can find it. And if you watch his tutorials, he clearly knows his stuff. So these shaders are very good. So well, let's go to metallic, and up here let's open up the material tab, and in here we're going to create a new material, and we're going to choose something similar to the blue, like this one. Then we're going to select this one, we're going to copy it, and we're going to put it into this shader. And what this will do is this will just overwrite everything that's using this shader, and then we're just going to drag that color over into here. So we're using the color that we had before, but we're using the material that we've just brought in, which is this one, the Moval one, which as you can see is very nice. Let's see about the wheels. Let's just make them a little bit more shiny, and then we'll just leave those as they are. We'll do the same thing with the brake disc, or disc brake. Disc brake. Oh no, hold on. So it looks like that is using the same material as the tyres. Yes, it is. So the tyres and the wheels and the wheels and the tyres are using the same material. So we don't want the tyres to be shiny, or as shiny as the metallic alloy. So we're just going to select one of the alloys, and we're going to rename this alloy. And now we can reduce the roughness on that to make them a bit more shiny. That's nice. And then actually we don't need to do that, we're going to get rid of one of these tyres alloys, aren't we? So I've done it, I've started now, so I'll finish. Right, okay. So we won't spend too much time on materials today. What we will do here though is with that selected, we're going to go to visibility and just uncheck all of these so that they don't cast any shadows. Let's go to the back, and we could potentially add a little bit of shiny to the exhaust finishers. Or actually these are actual tailpipe. Oh no, they are finishers. So let's select those and those, separate them, select them and make them unique and change that to exhaust finishers. Finish him! And then let's just reduce the roughness a little bit like that. And then probably want those, which is the actual exhaust, to be more shiny. So let's separate those and let's make those unique and then rename those exhaust tips. And then let's make those more shiny like that, which that's made it darker. So what we're going to do here, we can probably get rid of that actually, and then just make this a touch darker like that. Let's have a look. Okay, that's looking good. It's looking good. And the calipers, we could probably replace those with something a bit more realistic or with a little bit more detail. No offense to this model. Let's just increase. Actually, let's see what else uses this shader. So let's select all by material, so it's just those that are using them, so that's good. So we're going to increase the metallic and reduce the roughness a touch, or maybe increase it. There you go, that looks good. Right. There we go. So now we are ready to cut and shut. Chop, 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 chop. Let's do this. Right, so let's duplicate this collection. Let's move that to the top. So that's going to be our reference, that bottom one. And let's go into side view like this. Select an object, select all. Go into edit mode. Let's make sure nothing's hidden. Select, deselect. Go into X-ray mode. Let's select a big chunk in the middle. Delete big chunk in the middle. Select the back. Separate the back. Select, what was that again? Let's move that into our scene collection and let's rename that scalar. Those of you who have seen this before will know the reason for this. And we can reduce the size to 1 and the scale of that to 1 rather. Right, now let's select the rear, move it into a new collection, call it RR, which of course stands for rear. Let's move that up here. That rhymes as well. Let's move the rear up to here. Let's disable selection on the scalar. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select that sidewall, select all, tries to quads, select that edge there, move cursor to selected. Then let's move origin to 3D cursor. Now with that still selected, select all. Now let's parent to that. Let's wait for that to parent. Doopy-doopy-doopy-doo. Doopy-doopy-doopy. There we go. Okay. Now let's move that to Y0, so the wheels are in the same place now as each other. Now we can have a little AB. Let's see. So the wheels they're probably definitely wider. We've got camber on them, so let's not get confused or tricked rather. And then let's see how we're looking. Okay, so the width looks similar. The front will need to be widened a little bit to match the back. But yeah, it's looking good. Let's just make sure. So we need to fix this as well. That should be an alpha, that should use an alpha channel to make this, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent. So I wonder if we can do that now quickly. What's that look like? Okay, so the alpha does have an alpha alpha image non-color. Let's have a look. So that's this image here, is it? So how is that supposed to be alpha? Right, let's try a very quick color ramp. See if we can do anything with that. Yeah, so the middle, the actual text is black, so I don't know how it's gonna, or maybe we can just do that. Yeah, that'll do. It looks better anyway, but what I think we need to do is go into the image. Is it this image that it's using? GT4, looks like it, doesn't it? So it does have an outline. I don't know why that doesn't work. Anyway, it's good enough for now. So let's continue with our cutting and shutting. So what we're going to do, let's just select all again. Let's clear parenting. Then we're going to go select everything but the wheel. Let's have a nice shaded viewport down here, so we can always see what's going on in nice colourful colours. Let's move that down a little bit like that. And as I said, let's select everything but the wheel. So let's select that, hide, select that and hide. Let's go to front view. Let's select one wheel. Let's move that to a new collection, call it front wheel. There we go. Let's drag that collection up to here. Let's hide that select collection. Let's select that wheel. Let's delete that wheel. We got something that did not want to be moved, and up here as well. So let's move those into our front wheel collection. Now let's select all. So as you can see, even though we don't really see, we see these 4 bits here, but there's nothing other than that. And it's selected 558 objects. So if we delete that, we have now drastically reduced our file, which is nice. Now let's go into rear, and we're going to repeat that exercise. So select hide, select hide, select hide. And then we're going to select this wheel on the left, and we're going to delete, and then select a wheel on, well, this is the wheel on the left in reality, if that's top view. Select, move that to new collection, rename this RR wheel, create. Let's move that up here. No, let's have it in that order. Now let's hide the rear wheel. Oops, nope, sorry, hide the rear wheel. Now let's select all, and okay, we don't have anything there. Okay, and let's bring everything back up. There we go. This is a great start. Okay, so let's now isolate the front. Let's start with the front, because that's where the beginning is. Therefore, that's where we started. So let's delete all the bits that we definitely don't need. So let's have a look up here. So we don't need these bits, delete. We don't need, let's have a look what we've got under the bonnet there. So if we're going to keep anything, I guess we'd want to keep, where's the engine? Oh, there's no engine, okay. I mean, very rarely do we open the bonnets anyway, but I guess we could try and salvage some of this stuff here. So what we're going to do is, let's look, it makes colors in object. So let's select, great. So what we can do here is we can put it into X-ray mode, make sure nothing is selected, and we're going to just select this area here in the middle, and we'll be able to separate that, move it into a new collection, and then call this keep. And then let's make this disable rendering, and then just turn that off. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to chop. So select bonnet, or select something, select all, go to edit mode, make sure nothing's hidden, select all, and let's go to bisect. Let's chop it down like that. Let's reset these back to 0, change that to 1, clear outer. There we go. Now let's go to rear. We're going to do the same exercise on the rear. So let's select all the bits that we won't need, and therefore reduce our file. Select those bits. Do we need any of that? I think we can go ahead and just delete all of that. And let's delete these bits. Let's delete these bits and these bits. And I think we can now go ahead and select all, go to edit mode, make sure nothing's hidden, select all, go to bisect, go straight down, reset all these to 0, 0, make this one 1, and clear inner this time. Now let's bring in the front. Now let's make sure that cursor is at world origin. Now select all. Now let's change the origin to 3D cursor. Now let's select all, clear parenting, and it looks like we're going to widen the front. So let's double click on the front. Let's zoom in here, and then let's go to make sure we're pivoting around the 3D cursor, and then scale in X like so. Let's have a look at that in other views. Almost a perfect match there, that's good. Let's have a look front. I think what we'll do here, we zoom in a little bit, zoom in a lot actually. Scale X, let's move that out. I think what we'll do actually, something I've never really done before, is we're going to move the front down so the front, bottom of the front matches the bottom of the back. So let's just go G, and then we're going to tap the down cursor, the down arrow. That's good. Now let's, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to match these two lines, this one with this one. We're going to do probably an average of the two, I guess. So somewhere in between. So we're going to move this one in and this one out, and the widest point will be somewhere here, I think. Is that what we're going to do? I think so. So we can probably get rid of the glass. We don't need the glass, or we could maybe bring it back in later. So let's just separate those and put them into our keep collection. And we've got quite a lot of stuff going on here in one collection. So let's see if we can separate these. So let's find a view where there's nothing overlapping those. let's turn off, no, let's turn perspective back on, and I think this is a pretty good view here, so let's select all of this inside here like this. Very careful around here not to select the stuff beyond, and let's go around up here like this. There we go, and let's separate that. Let's grab that, let's move it into our keep collection. Let's bring everything else back in. Let's grab this, chuck it into the keep collection, grab this, and let's separate that, put that into our keep collection. And I hope we're not hoarding stuff, but let's just keep it right. So what we're going to do, let's start with the Y, the center line. So let's look in top view, and then let's see if we can select just the bonnet. Perfect. Now let's hide that. Let's hide the underside of the bonnet as well. Let's just select all the stuff in here like this. Let's go to X-ray mode to do that. Select all of this stuff here. Lovely job. And I think this bonnet bit is from the other side, but that's fine. Select that, hide. Now select all and separate. Now let's select our let's select the tailgate, and let's see if we can do the same exercise. So select this and hide, select and hide, select and no, not that bit actually. Select and hide, select and hide, select and hide. Good. This bit is potentially from the tailgate too, so select and hide. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we can select all and separate. There we go. Let's bring everything else back in. Let's select these two objects. Okay, so we're going to go straight from there, and we're going to match the front there. So starting with the bonnet, so this is just a floating bit, which is good. So we can select that, we can separate it, and then let's go ahead and select the top side that you see, separate that, and we can probably delete this because we'll never see that anyway. We're not going to rebuild that. Certainly not going to rebuild that. All right, let's select that half, delete. Let's go to the tailgate, and we have some floating bits here as well, so let's separate that one. Let's grab this side, delete that, then let's join those two. Let's add a mirror modifier to those two, make sure clipping is on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to delete the underside or B surfaces of the tailgate, which we don't need. That's going to make that nice and easy for us. So select that, hide for a sec, and then we're just going to grab this stuff and we're going to delete, bring the tailgate back in like that, and let's delete those, and actually let's delete those so we can just go straight from that edge. Now let's select the front and let's go to tries to quads, and that has done a pretty good job straight off the bat. Right off the bat, is that the saying? Straight off the bat, right off the bat. Batman. Okay, good. All right, let's do a little clean up on this edge here, so we get rid of any rogue tries and anything that we've got there as a result of our bisect. So now let's go to the back and do the same thing. Let's try to quads. It's done a nice job straight away. Good. I'm going to put a face there, and we're going to carry on. Okay, so these are a bit too close together, so let's make sure auto merge is on, and let's just slide those along like that. Delete that one. and create another face there. Let's grab those, slide those over, create another face there, slide those over, those ones, slide these over, and finally this one, and let's slide this one over like that. Now let's slide those, and at this point what we're going to do is we're going to just simplify the front a little bit. So we're going to get rid of one of these rows, probably this one. Let's just have a quick look at what it's doing. So this bonnet does it have a little scoop there at the end? Let's have a look at the reference. So the bonnet itself does not, or does it? Yeah, it does have a little surface change there at the end. So we'll keep that. We'll keep that, but we can bring it in later. So let's just slide those over for now. And we can probably reduce these as well. And seeing as we're going to put a subdivision modifier, we certainly don't need this much geometry. So we're just going to, first of all, reduce it like so. So we need 3 for the corner, which I've just deleted. So that's not good, but let's just continue like so. And just spreading these out more evenly. So we're just going to grab every other one, every other one, and just slide it over. Slide that one over there, and then slide that one back down like that. And then we've got a quad there, and then we've got our 3, which we can use for the corner. That turned out nicely, didn't it? Let's put a subdivision modifier on there, and then let's just do a little before and after. So that's before and that's after, so we just need to pull it over a little bit, and we are wider, of course. So, and we'll probably add a little surface for in there. And we deleted, oh, we've deleted this. Or have we? Have we got that in that keep? Yes, we do. Ah, thank you. Is that bit sticking out like that? Is that on purpose, or is that a mistake? No, they should not be sticking out like that, should it? Let's have a look. That's strange, isn't it? Why is that sticking out like that? Has that not been stretched out? Oh, no, it hasn't, has it? Okay. So if we look at this one, these have been scaled 1 point, so we can actually copy that. So if we grab that, and then we select that one, and we paste it in there. That was lucky, wasn't it? Very lucky. So, very good thing that we kept that. So let's just grab that front bit and put it into our working collection. So if we go L, hide, L, hide, L, hide, L, hide, L, hide. Let's keep these bits. And let's also keep these and these, because they give us a little bit of shade or black off underneath in between the shut lines. Right, so let's select all, let's separate, let's bring this back in, and we're going to move that into this collection. Let's bring everything back in. Good, okay, that's looking nice. Then let's go back to the bonnet work that we were doing. That is quite a nice shape. Do we want to have such a sharp break there, though? That's the question. And that's the question on everybody's lips. Actually, I don't mind that, I don't think. Let's have a look. Let's have a look with some wheels. The bigger wheels, of course. And actually, Let's make this a little bit bigger, but otherwise I think that's pretty good. And obviously we're going to have to give that a little bit of shape because that's just a straight line there basically. Well, it won't be a straight line because it's got subdivision on it, so it'll be slightly curved. But overall, I think that is looking good. So what we're going to do here quickly is we're just going to, actually maybe we'll even redistribute these to potentially improve the flow. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, good. And then if we go from here to here, so I'm just going to slide these over just a touch like that. And then we're going to, I wonder if we slide these over so we don't have an edge on X, Y0, but instead it's just curved around there. So if I cut, we're trying to get the same distance from here to here to here. So if we go to somewhere here, let's press X and C and then slide those over. That's made that massive, so that's a bit too far. So let's slide these up like that, and then let's introduce another edge there. And now let's slide these back up and then these over. That's much nicer. That's very good. That's what we're going to stick with. All right, let's have a look in side view. That's looking pretty good. It's looking like it's pinching. Maybe let's turn off the grid. Maybe pinching a little bit just there. It looks wider here than it does there. So what we're going to do here is just drop these. Yeah, so it's hooking up towards the end there, as you can see. And at this point, what we could do is we could use our world famous scaling technique. So we just need to put our scaling empty in the right place, which is at the center of the axles. So so the origin of this wheel is up here at 345.95. So if you just copy that, put it into the scaler, and then if we select the scaler, select all, actually we don't need to do the wheel, do we? And let's just make sure, yeah, so we don't need to do it with the wheel. So scaler, select all, and actually let's also put the 3D, let's put the 3D cursor at the same position. So let's select all, origin to 3D cursor, and now let's select that 3D cursor, select all, and let's set to parent. Now what we can do is if we select that bonnet, we can go in front view, select the scaler, and then reduce this, and then we can see a nice exaggerated view. So we will have a little hook at the end, but do we want it? Actually, there is a little hook at the end. We did say that, didn't we? So we'll leave that, but what we will do is, if we just undo the scaling trick, what we will do is just nudge these down so that they taper, so that this shape tapers towards the front. So maybe down a little bit further like that, and maybe this one goes down too as well. There we go, that's much nicer. Let's maybe grab that one down a touch like so, and let's have a look at these lines. So looking at this line, I think that maybe this line here actually no, we'll leave that, or will we? Hold on. So I'm just looking at this line here, and it looks like it's going in a little bit on itself. So I wonder if these want to come out a touch like so. That's before and that's after. And then if I grab these two and they come out a touch as well. And let's have a look in context. And I think we're going to leave that. We're not going to change it too much from the original. And then let's move on to the fenders. So select that and any rogue bits associated. So let's hide that. Let's select these and hide, these and hide, these and hide, these and hide, like so. And we need to do the same thing on the other side. So select and hide, select and hide, select and hide. There we go. That's good. That's good. And then we select all, separate. Let's grab the front as well. So select these, all of these bits here, like so, and these, and hide. And then let's grab these and hide. And that. Now let's select all and separate. Now we can join these two bits. Let's go join. And let's delete half of it, like so. We don't need that. Good, okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to match this edge with this one. So we're going to just grab that one, separate that, hide the bonnet, grab these two bits, and let's start by tries to quadding this. So let's select this. Let's select all of that first. Let's select all the front bit, and we're going to merge by distance. And then we're going to go tries to quads. And let's just change this to 1.1, 1.3. Let's try 1.4. Okay, 1.3 or 1.1 is definitely better. So we just do a little bit of manual labor there to fix that. But otherwise, it's not too bad. So we're just going to delete that one, slide that one over like that, delete these, and slide those over like that. Let's snap that to that. Make sure auto merge is on rather. Delete those. Delete that one. Delete that. And then do a little cleanup just there. Let's delete that. Slide these over. And slide that one up there. Okay, so and that one over to, and that one over to there. Good, right. So the eyebrow on the front is slightly narrower than the one on the back. So what we can do here is we can make this one taper and get bigger towards the back. So let's just grab that and that and that. And then let's try to quad the back as well. So if we select that and hide it, and then select that and hide it, we can now select all, merge by distance, and now we can go tries to quads. Let's have a little play with this. So 1 does that. What does 1.1 do? Shame you can't do undo on that. 1.3. Okay, so 1.3 seems to be better than 1.1. That's good, isn't it? Okay, well, let's try 1.4 then. What will that do? Okay, now we've gone too far. Right, let's go back to 1.3. That's good. Okay, right. Let's do a little cleanup on this neighboring edge. Let's delete those. Delete, delete. Slide. Slide. Delete, 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 delete. Let's merge these at center. I deleted my shortcuts the other day, didn't I? So merge at center was assign shortcut. So that was Alt M. So Alt M. Right, something else as well. That's annoying. Split selection. Right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to go to key map, key binding, Alt M, and we want Alt M to not be doing this one. Is that right? Hold on. Yeah, not to be doing that one. So when I do it now, yes, good. Thank you very much. Let's save this and delete, and slide, delete, or actually let's Alt M those. So a quick look at what time it is. It's 10 to 7, and I do need to do some stuff this morning before work, so I do need to finish very soon. But this one is coming along nicely, so it would be nice to finish. So if I don't finish it today, I certainly will finish it at some point. There we go, that's nice and clean. As expected, a Porsche was always going to be clean. I mean, it's a Porsche, isn't it? You can't go wrong. Right, what we're going to do here is snap those, and we're going to grab that row, and we're going to go. So I had a shortcut for shear as well, which was assign shortcut, which was Alt D. So with that one selected, let's go Alt D. Alt D. Right, so we've got to do the same thing again. Right, what was Alt D? Input, no, not input. Key maps, key binding, Alt D, and in Alt D is extend vertices. No, thank you. Let's get rid of that one. And now if we do select that one and do Alt D, it will be what we want. So let's shear that up like that. And then let's try scaling in Z. So actually scaling on this particular instance is better. Have a look in top view, have a look in side view again. Let's have a look at this rogue vertex and edge, and let's get rid of that vertex and that one. Let's grab these, then let's scale up in Z with that one. Let's snap to that. Let's create a face there. Let's snap that to that, and then we're just going to go snap those to those, and we're going to, so that one there will match that one, and then these will somehow match each other. So we're just going to go and just do any old stuff here for starters. And then we're going to see what we need to do to match them up. Okay, good. So up here we've got to be careful about where the lights are. So we can't lower this too much, but I think we could potentially lower it a little bit. Then let's do a little bit of reduction here first. Let's just do that just to make our life a bit easier. Let's grab those, slide them over like that. Now let's see, where should the peak be? The peak will be somewhere there. So this peak here, so this line should really match this one. So let's slide that one over, and that one over. Let's get rid of these. So we're doing a little bit more reduction here. And let's just slide those over. So this line should match that one eventually, somehow. This one, all right. So let's go, it's gonna go like that, basically. So let's isolate. Is that right? Is that what it's gonna do? It's going to go up and over like that. Let's just try it. Let's try it. All right, let's move. Let's move that one up. This one down. Let's shear these up like so. Let's move that one up like so. And then let's move these down. So we want the peak to be in the middle. We don't want it to be peaking at some random location. Let's bring everything back in. So that's what we want that to do. Probably want that curving to start from there. So let's grab those again. So it's going to do this. So we can lower these a little bit as well. So let's go down, down, down. Let's grab these and even them out, and then let's grab this one and these. I wonder if we redistribute those. So we want to keep these, the first two, quite close together, but the rest we can redistribute. So we can grab these and redistribute those evenly, and then we can nudge those. So we've got a really nice gradual curve. So this should be the peak there. So these should go down a little bit like that. That should go up perhaps. So the peak that I say was there. Yes, it's there. Let's redistribute these as well. Let's have a look in top view. Of course, it's a mess. Let's grab this, and the widest point of this should be this one here. So let's just grab those, and what we're going to do here first is we're going to scale first in X, and then we're going to shear it out. So the X is to flatten it a little bit, and then this one is to rotate it. And then we've got a really nice gradual curve here now. We can maybe move that and those over like that. Let's see how that's looking. Where's the center? The center's there. So that one could move up a touch. This one goes down. Let's go into our loop tools, and what we're going to do is we're just going to select these up to the center line like this, and we're just going to relax those a little bit, and we're going to do the same thing with the front. So we're just going to grab those and just going to relax those a little bit as well. So that's our center. We can nudge that down a little bit like that. Let's look in top view. And so we've got a bit of an S going on here, as you can see. It's going. So what we're going to do is we're going to just select those. We're going to bring everything else back in, make sure we don't make an accident, do an accident. We're going to separate those. We're going to use that as our guide. So now we're going to select the original ones. So behind there we've got the duplicates, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to flatten these and see how much different they are. So that's good, they're not much different, and what that has done is it's put those on a straight plane. And what's good about that is we just have a nice straight plane, and it gets rid of any S-ing. As I always complain though, it does move the first, this one, and the last vertex, which is Not ideal. It'll be nice if it just went straight from where it was, but we can work with that. That's why we kept the original. So now we're just going to move this up like this, and then we're going to rotate, and hopefully that's kept the planar, the fact that it's planar. So I wonder if we select flatten again, so there should be no change. So that's good. That's very good. What else we can do here is if we select all of that, well, keep them selected. Let's take off perspective. Now, if we go to, if we type in F and we select that face, and we go 7 on our keyboard, then in this view here we should be facing face on that plane. So now if I delete that, if I delete this edge, go into side view, what we should be able to do is if we go to local, and then now if we move these, that's not local though, is it? It's view. We need view, sorry. So now in this view here, we're looking in side view, and in this view, we are looking normal to this curve. So what that should mean is if we just zoom in a little bit, if we want to move these out normal to the curve, we can just do so in this view, and that curve should remain planar. We can check that actually. So let's just nudge those a little bit. We're just going to nudge that one up a touch like that. And do we want to flatten these a little bit? I quite like the additional crown there, so let's just leave that. And let's have a look at our curve. So if we select all, we zoom in and we do flatten again, there should be no move. That's perfect. And that is how you create perfect curves. Right. So let's add a subdivision modifier to that. And then let's adjust the neighboring edges. So we need to join these somewhere. So that's the guide there basically. We need to align everything to that edge there. So we can do a little bit of reduction there, and then once we get a better flow of vertices, then we can reintroduce those. So let's start by let's select that edge, then let's select one more on either side, let's isolate those, and then let's just manually make some adjustments. These, I wonder if these, what am I doing? I wonder if these need to be attached to those, or do I just slide them? Oops. Now let's just slide them over like that. Let's slide these. There we go. Okay, that's looking better in top view. And then let's go in side view over here. Let's change that to object, and let's see. So it's this one versus this one. So we need to make sure that the relationship is constant or consistent. So this edge here in side view is above this one. So we need to keep that consistency. So as long as all of these are above these, we'll be laughing. So let's just nudge all of those up like that. And then right at the front there, that's good. And let's just slide that over a little bit. Oh, no, actually, hold on, that's our guide, isn't it? So let's leave that one. let's join that to that, and then that to the, actually hold on, let's add an edge loop there. Let's delete that. What have we got here? And then let's get rid of that one. There we go, that's how we deal with that. Okay, so that's good. This one goes up a little bit. So we've got a nice constant relationship between these two. That's good. One goes up a little bit there. That one goes up, and that one goes up. Okay, that's good. Now let's work it. Let's work this one. Let's get rid of that for now. And then let's start with top view on this one. So again, we're making sure that the relationship between this and this is consistent. So let's make those pretty much parallel, I think. That'll be good. So that's looking good. Let's nudge these over a little bit, redistribute these a little bit. And then obviously in side view, it's a complete mess. So we're just gonna adjust those like this. This one goes down, this one goes up. So we're just doing like an average basically. There we go. Like so. Let's bring everything else back in. And subdivision modifier on. Let's bring in a mirror modifier. They are connected at the center line, so let's turn clipping on, although it looks like there's a bit missing or they don't quite match. Let's put that above the subdivision modifier there like that. Let's bring in the bonnet. Okay, yep, so that's starting to take shape there. That's good. There we go. So we've just worked these two there like that. This one looks like it wants to go up. So we're going to add a loop cut there eventually, but for now, let's just work with what we've got. And that one could slide down. That one. Okay, so these are zigzagging quite a lot. So let's see if we can rebuild something there. Oh, so we've got an additional edge there that we don't there. So what I think we could do here is probably get rid of one of those and then slide these up halfway like that. And we're just doing this by eye at the moment because we're still making quite big changes. There we go, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's now move on to the next row. What time is it now? It's 7 minutes past 7. Should I get on with my day or should I do some more? Let's do a little bit more. This is the problem, you see. Once you start, you just can't stop. A bit like, what is that? What is the marketing campaign where once you stop, you can't start? Once you start, you can't stop. Once you start, you can't stop. Or is it, if you start, no, don't start. Is it like a don't start? No, once you start, you can't stop. Or is it more of like a warning? Don't start. Don't start. Don't start. Don't. I've forgotten. No, Pringles. It's Pringles, isn't it? Once you pop, you can't stop. But is there one that's once you start, you can't stop? Shall we ask Google? Let's just ask Google quickly. Once you start, you can't stop. advertising. Yeah, Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. Phrase, once you pop, you can't stop. I didn't say that though, did I? I said once you start, you can't stop. Okay. So maybe there isn't. There you go. There's an opportunity there. There's a gap in the market. No one has ever used the term once you start, you can't stop in a campaign. Although people will probably think it's associated with Pringles. Although there are worse things that you can be associated with, because Pringles are very nice. I do like Pringles. I like the ready sorted and the salt and vinegar ones. And they've got the paprika ones as well, which are also very nice. But yeah, Pringles are very nice. But if I had to choose which my favourite crisps were, then I would choose probably kettle chips, because they are delish. They're like the Rolls Royce of crisps, aren't they? Real solid. Like, yeah, these are you know you're eating crisps when you're eating kettle chips. And with those, I like the salt and pepper flavour. They're just so classy, aren't they? Who else does salt and pepper flavour crisps? Only kettle chips can do that. And also the salt and vinegar. I do like salt and vinegar crisps. That's one of my favourites. If I'm going for Walkers, I'd probably go for chicken or bacon flavour. Those are very nice. And of course, salt and vinegar. And what other crisps are there? I mean, those are my go-to crisps. Then you've got all your sort of fun crisps like hula hoops. Hula hoops are nice, and those big, like, sort of puffy hula hoops, they're also nice. And then you've got French fries, as in the crisps French fries, not French. I mean, French fries, chips are good. I do like chips. And obviously thin chips is my preference. And right, I think I better stop for now, because I need to get on with my day. How can I do this very quickly, just so I can do the rest of my day and not think about this? I wonder if I just delete all of these. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, because this is all stuff that's hidden underneath, so you won't see that. This is just sort of nice to have later on. So let's just delete these and these. And so we're going to match that to that, won't we? So if we just quickly grab these and we go to, let's see, let's add, so this was Alt 1 was a shortcut for that I had. Was it? That's to turn it on and off. But this one here, how do you get the shortcut for that? That's to turn it on and off, which is the same as that. So we want the shortcut to be this, Alt 1. We want the shortcut to change these. Right, remove shortcut. And remove shortcut. Remove shortcut from that. Remove shortcut. And what we actually want, because to turn that on and off is that one, but to select these, I want that to be Alt 1. Perfect. Brilliant, brilliant. Right, so let's choose Edge, and then we're just going to snap those to there, like that. That one can go there. It looks like it's obviously quite low, so they'll be going down. So we're just going to quickly, you're going to turn off mirror modifier off quickly, And we're just going to nudge all of these. Hold on, what's going on here? That's very low. Oh, so that one needs to go. That one needs to go down there like that. And then these two will continue like that. These two will continue like that. These two will continue there. And then these two, or these, this bunch will go down like that. Then these will be a continuation of those. These move down like so. So I'm just very roughly chucking these in. Those go down like that. They go down like so. And so on and so forth. Okay, that's good. And then what are these doing up here? These should be lined up with those. So if we isolate those, nudge these, and we can see, let's just grab those, let's scale those in Z. Scale Z. Oh, it's still got a view on here. Scale, select that one last, scale Z. There we go. Beautiful. Now let's bring everything back in. And let's turn on subdivision modifier. And what's this? So we don't need... Right, first of all, we can delete 1/2 of that anyway. It's asymmetrical, but it doesn't matter. We don't see down there anyway. Let's turn on mirror modifier on that. And then let's delete up to about there. And let's quickly merge these. So we can get rid of those. 1, 2, 3, up to about there, I'd say. And then let's grab these. Let's grab this flange, slide it up to get rid of it, and then let's go to vertex, snapping to vertex, turn snapping on, and then just snap those, and then let's just slide these over. And that, I would say, that's a good place for us to take a pause for the day and get on with our day, knowing that we've made a brilliant start on this 718, this Porsche 718 Cayman GT4. It's looking good. I think it looks like the peak is a little bit too far back here. So if we just look in side view, yeah, it looks like the peak is over here somewhere. I think we're going to try and push that peak a little bit forward to at least center line, I think. So we'll do that by flattening this out and then maybe raising this up a little bit. I guess we might have to do that because we might have, that will make it potentially a little bit too flat there. But yeah, it definitely needs to move forward just to give it a nicer stance. And then if we look at the center line, so the center line, if we just grab that and isolate it, have a look in side view, the other side. So as you can see, the peak is more somewhere here. So it looks like it's sort of facing forward, it's charging forward. Whereas if we bring everything else back in, this looks like it's sort of scared, like a little scaredy cat going, I don't want to go forward. So yeah, we just need to move that peak forward. However, as I said, we have gotten to a good position. So we can pause for the day, go and get ready for work, go and work for someone else for a bit, and then come back to this and finish this off. So as always, let's save that. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. I very much enjoyed this live stream, and I look forward to continuing later on at some point. Have a brilliant day. Why did you turn this off?